Hi, this is your host, Kristen Howe, and I would like to welcome you to our call today with our very special guest, Noah St. John. Noah St. John, the Accelerated Results Guy, is the inventor of Affirmations and best-selling author of Permission to Succeed and The Secret Code of Success. He's the most quoted expert on how to dump your head trash and has been featured in over 3,000 media outlets. Also, Noah's books have been translated into 12 languages. You're really going to want to listen in on today's call because on the call, you'll discover how to get unstuck and reach your destiny faster in literally just 5 minutes a day, the one simple question to accelerate your results almost instantly, how to turn negative beliefs into positive results, and what you should never do if you really want to live abundantly. So I can't wait to hear the answer to that one. So Noah, thank you for joining us today and welcome to the call.
Oh, thanks, Kristen. It's great to be here with you.
I'm psyched to have you here, and I'd love to have you actually give us, tell us a little of the Noah St. John story in terms of what struggles maybe you went through, what turnarounds you experienced to actually manifest the current level of success that you have now.
I got into this business, Kristen, very much out of desperation and frustration. I grew up in a lower middle class family up in Maine. It's funny because actually the area in which I grew up is one of the wealthiest in the country, but yet my family was poor. So I saw a very stark difference between what my family was experiencing and what was going on, in the little town that I grew up in, which was, a lot of big houses and nice cars and everything, versus my family, which, just to give you an example, my brother and my dad and I would go around the neighborhood and pick up rocks so that we could build our fireplace. So that's the kind of, experience that I had. And, my parents argued all the time about money and that we didn't have any and how come they were working so hard and, just could never get ahead. So you've heard of that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Sure have.
Well, I only had a poor dad. So I didn't have the benefit of a rich dad. I just had books. So I went to the library as a way to escape. And I, went to the library and just read every book that I could on personal growth, success, that type of thing, personal development, self-help, et cetera. And I just really tried to put them into practice over a period of many, many years. I noticed that, I really wasn't getting much better. My results really weren't working that well. So I was still very frustrated, even after reading all these books. And then many years ago, back in 1997, I actually had a couple of, I guess you'd call them epiphanies and realizations after spending so much time reading all these books. And I realized, a couple of things that, hopefully we'll get to talk about today, which is really why so many people are stuck. Because I was definitely stuck even after reading all of these books. So it was a very frustrating experience. But once I realized exactly what was missing in traditional success literature, all those books that I was reading, once I realized it, I was able to say, oh, okay, well, I can actually, now that I get it, I can put it in place. And then really everything started to change. And, I actually had an experience of, at one point in my life, I was $35,000 in debt working out of my parents' basement. Using these principles, that I'll share with you tonight, I actually went from that experience and literally let me give you an example. I was so broke that I was in a bookstore one time and I wanted to buy a book. I looked at my wallet. I realized I don't even have enough money to buy this book in a bookstore. That's how broke I was. Well, I went from that experience to once I started to apply these principles, within a span of 24 months, I actually got a 6-figure book deal with one of the world's largest publishers. I got testimonials from people like Harvey Mackay, Stephen Covey, Jack Canfield, John Gray, Joe Vitale, Neil Donald Walsh. I mean, a lot of really, really big thought leaders in this industry. I became a best-selling author, and I started speaking in places like Palm Springs, Las Vegas, Australia, to audiences of over 1,000. So I literally went from basement to bestseller in 24 months using the principles that I'll share with you today.
Wow. Well, okay. I can't wait then. So, yeah, let's talk about, because I do know that a lot of people listening feel, and it's such a perfect word you used, stuck. And
right.
Some of them have probably felt stuck for a really long time. So help us with that. I mean, what is it that we need to know?
Absolutely. Well, you're right. It is the perfect word. And that's what I was going through. As I mentioned, what's so frustrating, Kristen, as I know people who are listening are aware of, is the most frustrating thing isn't even that you're stuck. It's that you spend all this money trying to get unstuck and you're still stuck. That's the thing. It's not that it'd be one thing if I didn't even try and, all right. But no, I really tried. I was actually just talking with one of my clients. His name's Jim. We were on the phone, and he told me that he has spent over $150,000 on all these different marketing programs and just personal growth, business growth, etc. And he was stuck. He was just stuck even after spending all that money. So that's really, really frustrating. So let me just talk about this whole concept of stuckness for a second, because it's actually, we could just sort of say that and go on to the next thing. And I don't want to give it short shrift. I really I want people to understand this, because it really is a very important concept. It might sound almost, flippant, but it isn't at all. It's actually very serious. So I do a lot of work with home-based entrepreneurs. I've also coached multimillionaire CEOs, stay-at-home moms, and kids, teenagers, athletes, etc. My point is, what I've observed, and so far, our work, as I mentioned, I've been, doing this since 1997, online and, in person and going and speaking, etc. I've had the opportunity to work with over 200,000 people in over 50 countries. So what I've noticed in all that time is that there are 3 levels of what I call entrepreneurial stuckness. And the 3 levels of entrepreneurial stuckness are, number 1 is crawling, which means you have no customers, and by the way, if you're in network marketing, I work with a ton of network marketers. So that's also, one of my big client bases. Okay. So you have no customers or no team members, no downline, et cetera. So your pain at the crawling level is called no profit. And we've all been there. We've all had to start crawling. We all had to start somewhere. The problem is, if you're still crawling and like Jim, you'd spent all this money, that's not good. So then the next level of stuckness is called walking. Right after crawling is walking. That means you just don't have enough customers or team members or downline. So your pain at the walking level is called not much profit. So you either have no profit or not much profit. And then finally, the third level of stuckness is called running. So that's where you're trading time for money. Now, at the running level, you may have a lot of customers, you may have a lot of team members, you may have a big downline, et cetera, but guess what? You're running and running. So what happens is the pain at the running level is not money, but you have no time, freedom. You don't have freedom. You don't own your life anymore. Everybody else owns your life. And so what actually happens is you start to hate your life. And I think those of you who are running know what I'm talking about. So those are the 3 levels. There's the crawling, walking, and running. Now, let me tell you, there's also 4 types of entrepreneurial stuckness. So that's the levels. There's also 4 types of stuckness, believe it or not. And they are time stuck, energy stuck, relationship stuck, and money stuck. Now, time stuck means I don't have the time to do the things I want. How many times have you heard yourself say that? Oh, I don't have the time. You want to do this? No, I don't have the time. I'd like to do that. No, okay, so we heard that a million times. From ourselves. Energy stuck. I don't have the energy to do the things I want. Oh, I'm at the end of the day, tired, exhausted, etc. Okay, I don't have relationship stuck is I don't have the right people in place to do the things I want. I could grow my business if only I knew the right people. How many times have you heard that in your head? And finally, of course, money stuck, which is I don't have the money to do the things I want, which is also translate I can't afford it. So the results of stuckness, and I know I'm taking a long time talking about this because it really is important. It took me, well over $100,000 that I spent on reading all these different programs, reading books and programs and seminars, et cetera. So I really am hoping to save people a lot of time, money, and effort. So the result of stuckness is what I want to say, because when you look at lack of time, energy, relationships, and money, what it leads to, a lack of time really leads to high stress or lack of enjoyment. Imagine if you're always saying, oh, I don't have the time, and people are saying, hey, well, you want to go do something fun, you want to go to the beach, you want to whatever, oh, I don't have the time. Well, clearly you're going to be stressed out, right? And you're not really going to be having any fun. So that's, again, you might have, quote unquote, lots of money, but what fun is that if you can't enjoy it? Secondly, lack of energy leads to the result of resentment, bitterness, and anger. right? If you get to the end of the day or middle of the day and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted, you're going to be angry. You're going to be probably have a lot of resentment, bitterness. These are not fun things. Lack of relationships leads to what I say is small results and limited success. If you don't have the right people in your life or in your business, you can't grow. You just can't do it. There's no way. And everybody who's a home-based entrepreneur or in network marketing or what have you, you know this. You can't do it without the right people. And finally, lack of money very simply leads to small influence and a lack of freedom. So just, again, I would suggest that write down to, those four things: time, energy, relationships, and money, and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How stuck are you? Or if how free are you? Let's do it that way. How free are you? So scale of 1 to 10. 1 is I'm totally stuck. 10 is I'm totally free. I have all the money I want, all the time, energy, and relationships. That would be a 10, right? If you're there, then you don't really need to listen to this, and you're not listening to this because you're perfect. So see where you are. I mean, really, and I say this all the time. You can have lots of money and still be stuck. And I'll tell you a story a little later, hopefully we'll have time about, how I helped someone who had lots of money, but they were really stuck. Don't think it's just, I don't have the money. No, it's time, energy, and relationships as well as money. But the good news, Kristen, that I just want to share with you is that the good news is all of those are symptoms. See, that's the good news. So I gave you the bad news, right? There's the bad news is all the stuckness and, oh, brother, that's fun. No. The point is all of those are symptoms. And once you understand what's causing the stuckness and how to fix them, you actually can get unstuck much faster than you ever thought possible. And then you can really do things that you thought were impossible. And I've seen it happen with my clients, Kristen, literally thousands of times. We have a drawer here filled with letters and emails and thank you notes and phone calls and messages from people literally in over 50 countries around the world, just people who have made more money, improved their relationships, have more energy, and literally have the freedom that we all want as entrepreneurs.
Wow. Well, and it sounds like it would work, in any area of your life even.
There's no question about it. And actually, I have I just got an email from a fellow in Montreal, and he said that using this system, that we'll talk about today, using this system, he actually found the perfect girl for him. He found the perfect girl. And I got another email from another client of mine named Richard. He's in Korea. He found a girlfriend. He hadn't had a girlfriend. I think it was his first girlfriend he ever had. And he used the system and he found his girlfriend. And I mean, I tell people, I use this system to find my wife, the perfect girl for me. So yeah, it totally works. It totally works. And by the way, I'll just mention, when I was $35,000 in debt working on my parents' basement, I was a total chick magnet, as you can imagine. It was awful. But see, I wasn't using the system properly. I realized, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not even using the system. As soon as I used it, boom, 24 months, basement, the bestseller. There you go.
So what do we do? What is the system? I know you say there's one simple question to accelerate your results almost instantly. I mean, so is that a good jumping in point?
Oh, absolutely. So what I want to talk about today is I want to, again, be very clear with everybody that we're going to be covering snippets from this program that I have, which is called Teaching You About What is the Missing Piece in Abundance. Literally the missing piece in having abundance. And the way that this program came about, which is so funny, is it came about very organically. Because I've been teaching, as I mentioned, people. I've been online since 1997, which is when I opened my first business in 1997. So I'm actually older than Google. So, but that's true. But anyway, my point is that people kept writing to me, and with all these success stories, and they said, "No, this is the missing piece. This is what I've been looking for." Right? I know. That's what I was looking for too. It was so neat. So, that's what we're going to cover today is snippets from this program. And then, we'll let you know how you can get the whole program. But I want to make sure that, no matter what happens, that you can take what I share with you today, you can cause some momentum to happen, get moving. And then, hey, if you want to get the whole program, we'll show you how to do that. Let me take you back, okay?
Okay.
So as I shared with you earlier, I grew up poor, and then by the way, I did a lot of things. I mean, when I say that, I mean I did a lot of jobs. I had a very kind of varied background, let's just say, because I was reading all these books and I really wanted to be successful, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Well, at one point in my life, when I was 28 years old, I found myself back in college. Actually, I had gone to college before when I was 18, and then 10 years later, I decided to go back because I didn't quite finish the first time. I went back and I was a religious studies major. So studying, all these, the world's religions. One night, this was in April 1997, I was there in college. I was looking around my dorm room, and I noticed that my dorm room was pretty big in the sense that if you put your arms out to both sides, you could touch the wall on either side. That's how small it was. So it was not very big. And I noticed that all around my little teeny dorm room was these things called affirmations, right? And we all know about affirmations. Everybody who's ever read a self-help book knows what an affirmation is. And an affirmation, of course, is a statement of something that you want to be true. So a classic affirmation is, I am rich. So I had written these affirmations all over my wall. In fact, I had done everything they told me to do. They tell you to do the same thing. Every one of these books tells you the same exact thing. You write down the statement, you put in a positive, and you put a lot of emotion behind it, right? Motion, right? That's the important thing. I am rich, I'm wealthy, I'm happy, right? Meanwhile, what's happening in your brain? Your brain's going, yeah, right. Right? Because, here I was, I'm in this little dorm room. I'm like, I have no money, I'm broke, I'm divorced. I was divorced by that point. And I'm like, wow, this is not working. And the funny thing is, which is not funny at all, it's actually very depressing and frustrating, is I'm doing exactly what they told me. I am following this, to the letter. Because I'm a very analytical kind of a thinker. Listen, if you tell me to do something, I'll do it. I want to succeed. I don't want to be broke and poor and lonely. And I want to be wealthy and happy like these guys. So you tell me what to do, I'll do it. So I did it. And it didn't work. I'm like, wow, what's the problem? So I really, was very depressed. And so I went to bed that night and I was very depressed. I was very sad. I got up the next morning and I said, well, all right, I guess that's, I'm looking at all these affirmations all over my walls. And I know a lot of people have this experience too, because I talked to thousands of people with very, very similar stories to mine. They did everything the books told them to do and didn't have any results. Same thing. So then I got into the shower. Now, have you ever had one of those aha moments in the shower? I think we've all had that, right? Yep. I call it the shower fairy. The shower fairy comes in and I just give you these great ideas. So I was there in the shower and I was thinking about this very point. I was thinking about human thought, and I started to say to myself, well, what is human thought? What is human thought? And I realized that human thought is the process of asking and searching for answers to questions, not statements. So, for example, if I were to ask you, why is the sky blue? Do you know what's happening in your brain right now? What?
Yeah, I'm asking more questions.
You're searching for the answer, right? Your brain is actually, right now, I asked the question, why is the sky blue? Now, what's happening is your brain is doing like a Google search within your brain. We've all used Google, right? You go to Google and you type in, why is the sky blue, right? And you hit enter and it goes, hey, let me go through my search engine algorithm and find the 10 million trillion websites that say answer that question. Well, our brain is exactly like Google. So you put in a question and it searches for the answer. Now, you may not know the answer yet. So if I say, why is the sky blue? You may not know sitting here the answer. But that's not the point. The point is that your brain automatically starts searching for the answer. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. So I said, wait a second. Now, hold on. Now, notice, by the way, that you cannot not do this. You can't not search for the answer when you ask a question, any more than Google. You type in, why is the sky blue? You hit enter, and Google says, no, I don't feel like answering you right now. No, your brain is programmed. The brain's actual operating system is questions. You cannot not do it. It is not even your own volition. You couldn't do it. In fact, you couldn't stop even if you tried. So the point is, I said, wait a second now. If the human mind is always in the process of asking and searching for answers to questions, and if human thought literally is the process of asking and searching for answers to questions, then why are we going around making statements that we don't even believe? Why don't we just cut out the middleman? This is all in the shower. You took a pretty long shower, but I'm serious. I mean, this all happened in my brain in this moment. So I said, why are we going around making statements we don't believe when human thought really is asking and searching for answers to questions? And I said, well, let's see. So we have this statement that we've all been told to use a million, billion, cajillion times. And by the way, but speaking of that, affirmations, right? We've all read this. And what did the traditional success teachers tell us? If your affirmations don't work, in other words, if you don't get the result that you want, what are you supposed to do? Do it more.
Right. Over and over.
Just keep doing it more because you must be doing it wrong. They didn't say that. I mean, nobody ever said you're doing it wrong, but I mean, that's the inference, right?
It's implied.
So let's just really analyze this for a second. So if it doesn't work, keep doing it more. Are there any other places in life where that's going to work? If your kid is crying, slap it again. That is the bad advice, very bad advice. You understand, everybody, that I just said that's bad advice? Don't do that. But you see, I mean, that would be like one of those idiotic statements that would make about as much sense as that. If something doesn't work, keep doing it. If you're getting fatter, if you're gaining weight, keep eating Twinkies. What? So there's no other place that we would ever accept this, but we accept it with affirmations because he wrote a book. This guy's on stage, and he's wearing a nice suit, so it must be true. Wait a minute. Right? We all know it doesn't work. Now, in all fairness, I should say this. We all know that there are times that affirmations have worked. We have had it probably a few times that they've worked. I have been, in the media, I've been misquoted many times of Noah St. John says affirmations don't work. No, I've never said that they don't work. What I've said is that they often don't work for most of us. There's a big difference. There is. There's a big difference, okay?
Yeah.
Because they often don't work for most of us. Most of the time, I could even say, So, no, do they work? Yes. Now, this is really fascinating because a 2009 study done by the University of Waterloo, which got a ton of press and Newsweek, et cetera, they actually did a study of something that I've been teaching for over 15 years now, which is that the average person, when you say an affirmation, actually feels worse than they did before. So look at it. So let's say your affirmation is I am rich, which is a great affirmation, right? That's going to work, right? That's going to make you rich. Well, what they found is that not only doesn't it make you rich, it actually makes you feel worse because you get your brain saying, but I sure don't feel rich, dude. In fact, I feel pretty broke, and now you made me feel worse. Thanks a lot. I mean, I'm paraphrasing the brain, but that's basically what happens, right? That's pretty much what we say to ourselves. What I realized is, wait a second. What if there were just another way to do this? This thing called thinking. This thing called manifesting.
Yeah.
So let's back up for a second. So now we all know everybody listening to this program knows about the truth of the law of sowing and reaping. Everybody knows this. It's been taught for centuries. As you sow, so shall you reap. We all know this. So what are we sowing? Well, in life, we are sowing seeds of thought. That's what all human beings are doing at all times. We're sowing seeds of thought. But what are most people doing? They're actually sowing lousy thought seeds. They're sowing disempowering thought seeds. Now, they're not doing this consciously. Nobody does this on purpose. Nobody sits there and thinks negative, disempowering thoughts on purpose, but guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're doing it on purpose or not. So one of the things that I showed in my book is I showed that, the human mind is like an iceberg. This has been taught by scientists at Stanford and MIT and Harvard. This is not mumbo jumbo or new agey stuff. It's totally science. My point is that they've shown, scientific testing, that only about 5% of the human brain, of our thoughts, behaviors, and actions are at the conscious level. So it's very much like an iceberg. The 5% is above the surface. That's the conscious mind. The 95% is below the surface. That's the subconscious. What if you are planting really nice, good thought seeds like I am happy, I am rich in the little teeny 5%? Meanwhile, your 95% is down there going, why am I so broke? Why don't I ever have any money? Why can't I find the right person? Why does everything always go wrong? Why is there more month left at the end of the money? Now, guess what? What are all of those? Those are disempowering thought seeds. See, so most people, Kristen, are trying to fight the 95 with the 5. So which one do you think is going to win?
Yeah, the 95.
Yeah, but only every time.
Yeah, only every time.
So what I show you in this program called let me finish this thought here because I want to tell you. So what I realized is that there was another way that no one had ever talked about before. No one had ever mentioned, no one had ever written the book. And I realized as I was standing in the shower, this was April 24th, 1997, I said, wait a second. What if, instead of using statements that we don't believe, what if we just started asking questions? Instead of saying disempowering statements or even empowering statements we don't believe, what if we just started forming questions that would create the life we really wanted? Then I said, let's see. I literally stood there in the shower and I said, what would that look like if we could have a question that would form a new reality for us, a new way of thinking, a new belief system? What would that question look like? I said, well, let's see. You have this statement or affirmation, I am rich, and your brain says, yeah, right. So what would the question be? Why am I so rich? Now, I want everybody listening, write that down. Write down that question right now. Why am I so rich? Now, when you ask that question, and I'll ask you, Kristen, so when you ask the question, why am I so rich, what starts to happen in your brain?
It starts looking for the answer.
Exactly. Now, notice you can't even help it. You can't help searching for the answer. And so I said, wait a second. If we have that question, an empowering question, instead of an empowering statement we don't believe, won't that just cut out the middleman? And the answer is yes, it does. And so as I was standing there in the shower, April 24th, 1997, I said, holy cow, I think I just invented something. And so I had to give it a name. And the name that I gave it is the name of this program called Affirmations. 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 Not affirmations, but affirmations. There are hundreds of thousands of people who have taken my affirmations classes and have used them to literally change their lives in 5 minutes a day and get incredible results like doubling, tripling their income in less than a year, finding the love of their lives after they've given up on relationships, starting from nothing, zero, and building a six-figure business literally in less than 4 months. I mean, and the stories go on and on and on. This program about affirmations literally is the missing piece to having abundance in your life in less than 5 minutes a day.
And we can do affirmations for every area of our life, or do we do one at a time? How does it work?
That's a great question, and I get that question a lot, Kristen. So here's how it works. So let's go back to your brain, okay? Because that's really what we're talking about, is how to use your brain. Now, first of all, did you ever take a class were you given instruction on how to use your brain when you were in school?
No.
Me neither. That's why I had to spend $150,000 to learn how to use this squishy gray thing called the brain. And even then, all those experts couldn't tell me how to think properly. Now, let me explain this. It's an important point that so many people just miss this, but it really makes a huge difference. When I was reading all those books in what I call traditional success literature, they were written by, naturally, highly successful people. They're saying, okay, well, listen, if you want to be successful, which is what we all want, here's all you do. You do da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. The irony is they all pretty much say the same thing. There's basically 4 things they tell you to do. I mean, I can literally save you a lot of money right now because you don't have to buy more books in traditional success literature. The number 1 thing they say is set your goals. In other words, you got to know where you want to go. Number 2 is you have to do something. You take action. If you have a target, you have to pull the bow back and shoot the arrow. Then the 3rd step is you got to evaluate. Right? Did I hit the thing or not? Did I totally miss it? Did I hit, one corner? Did I hit the bullseye? What am I doing? Finally, the 4th step is try again. So if at first you don't succeed, skydiving is probably not for you. Anyway, so my point is that that's really what they tell you in traditional success literature. Set your goals, do something, evaluate, try again. Now, that's perfectly legitimate. I mean, it sounds logical, right? You want the thing, try to get it. If you don't get it, see what happened, what went wrong, and then do something else. Okay. If all that just worked, then how come there are so many people who are still stuck? Right? Like Jim that I was talking about, $150,000. You think nobody ever told him that before?
Yeah.
Right. So you heard it a million times. We've all heard this. So, okay, well, then if that worked, then there wouldn't be any stuckness in the world. So clearly there's something missing. So what I realized, Kristen, was that over time, what happens is, have you ever tried to do something at first and it was really, really difficult, and then after a while you become unconsciously just very good at it, what's called unconscious competence? That's what happened, I realized, with these people who are teaching success. What they did is they worked really, really hard, but most of them had a lot of things in place that they were not really conscious of. So they became what I call unconsciously competent at allowing themselves to succeed. So when I teach things, what I'm actually teaching is what highly successful people are doing that they're normally unconscious of. They're just doing it without thinking. The problem with someone who's unconsciously competent is it can sometimes work against us as the student. In other words, they're telling us these 4 steps, which aren't wrong, but, well, then how come I'm not getting what I want? How come I'm not manifesting it? So my point in all of this is saying that, go back to your question, how does this really work? Let me just ask you a question. I'll ask you a hypothetical question. How many negative, disempowering thoughts do you think you've thought about yourself over the years?
I can't even count that high.
Right. 100 trillion, right? I mean, we literally couldn't.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just reality. Most human beings walking around have tons of disempowering beliefs about ourselves. I can't do it. I'll never make it. Why does this doesn't work out? And again, we're not doing this consciously, but it's in that subconscious bottom part of the iceberg. So my point is, you've had 10 trillion negative thoughts, but here you are. You're still here.
The second you said, if I ask you a question, what happens, and you can't not do it, you're right. Your brain instantly starts searching for answers. So that's amazing. So is this how you turn negative beliefs into positive results, is by using affirmations?
Yes, and let me give you an example of that.
Okay.
We had one client who came to us. Her name is Sheila, and she's very smart, very motivated. She was in network marketing. She'd been doing it for many years. And by her reckoning, she had spent about $35,000 on different training programs. So, that's quite a lot of money. And she was making about $5,000 a month. So, it was okay, pretty good, but she knew she could do much, much more. She just had everything in place. So she was very frustrated. So she came to one of my programs. And the funny thing was, she came to the back table, where we had program products for sale. And she was kind of standing there and hemming and hawing and just, I don't know if I should do it. Finally, her husband, David, was there. And he looked at her, finally took out his American Express card, threw it on the table and said, "You're getting this. This is different. This is not the same thing. I've heard everything before. I've been to all these programs." He just couldn't take it anymore. And he said, "Listen, we're getting this." So it was funny because she was hesitating, and he said, no, this is good. This is different. I'll take it. Long story short, Sheila went through the program, and in less than 6 months, using, the formula, going through all the steps, she literally went from making $5,000 a month to $75,000 a month.
Wow.
She literally wrote to me. She said, Noah, this month, it was less than 6 months later, she said, this month we just cracked $75,024. And she broke all kinds of records in her company. She was promoted, and, she was on stage and winning awards. And she said, it was literally because I learned how to use my brain. Now, the funny part about that story, and I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, that's a 15 times increase in less than 6 months. That's pretty amazing. But what's even more amazing is this. It would be one thing if I said, listen, she did all this and worked really hard and got to that huge increase, which, again, most people would be pretty thrilled with. But she literally told me, she called me one day, she said, no, what's the most amazing thing about this is I'm actually working less now, making $75,000 a month than when I was making $5,000 a month.
That's exciting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sure, it's one thing to say, I make all this money and, you never get to see your kids or, working 20 hours a day. Some people might do it, but most of us say, I don't know if that's worth it, buddy. Meanwhile, she literally said that I'm actually working less to make 15 times the money that I was making. That gets people pretty excited.
Yeah, no, that gets me really excited. That's, it's amazing. Tell me this. So what will specifically deliver the Unstuck in 5-minute results?
Well, it's really using the Affirmations formula. In the program that we have for you, which is called Affirmations, the missing piece to having abundance. And, as I mentioned earlier, that literally came from so many people telling us this is the missing piece, literally just thank you and sending all these amazing, amazing success stories. So going through the program, and, we can certainly talk about what's in it. Honestly, it's a simple process. It's not hard. Anybody can do it. I've worked with 7-year-olds. I've worked with 10-year-olds, 14-year-olds. I've worked with CEOs making 7 and 8 figures. In fact, I just want to talk to that for a second. I promised you earlier that I'd share a story with you about making lots of money and still being stuck. Well, I was doing a seminar in Los Angeles one time. I was literally walking off the stage. I just finished speaking, and I was walking off the stage. This guy practically tackled me. Oh, he goes, no, I want you to coach me. And I said, okay, well, yeah, what's going on? He goes, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making $4 million a year. Of course, I had the same reaction that most people, which is, gee, a lot of people like to be so-called stuck at $4 million a year. He goes, no, you don't understand. I have this software company. I'm the CEO. I'm the founder. And we got to $4 million in revenues really fast. But we have been plateaued at $4 million in revenues for the last 4 years. We just hit a plateau. Now, I know we can do so much more. I mean, we're just sitting on all this growth. I've got everything in place, but we're not growing. And then as soon as I heard you talk about being stuck and the levels of stuckness and your foot on the brake and head trash and everything, I just knew that you were the person I wanted to coach me. I got to have you coach me. I said, okay, fine. So long story short, I coached them. We went through this program, went through the process. Bottom line is, in that next year, after being plateaued for 4 years at $4 million, his company's revenues went from $4 million to over $20 million in 1 year.
There you go.
He had a so-called lots of money, but he was still stuck, and he told me the exact same thing. He literally called me from Monte Carlo and said, hey, Noah, this stuff works. I'm like, yes, it does. So
yeah, that's unstuck. So you said that there is one question that can accelerate results. I mean, is it literally one question, or is it more the form of using the question?
Well, it is both. I mean, there is one question that you can ask, and which is the one that I already shared with you. And you can just take this and go with it, or do this. And if you feel you want to get through the whole program, so I explain exactly how it works and how you can do it for your specific situation. But yeah, if you just say, why am I so rich? Why am I so rich?
Yeah, everybody write that down. Why am I so rich?
Yeah, and you will feel the difference in your brain immediately. And by the way, I have done. I'm sure you're familiar with muscle testing, Kristen. Have you seen that muscle testing, where you say something and you're strong, and you say another thing and you're weak?
Yeah.
I've literally done this in front of groups of hundreds of people, and have a person come up who's totally stuck, and then I give them an affirmation, like I am rich, and they're just totally weak. Their body goes weak. And you can actually go, there's videos on YouTube to show this. And then I give them an affirmation, like what I show you in the program, and they're strong. I can't move them. I cannot budge them. And these are like, everywhere from, big strapping guys to, little skinny girls. And, you can't budge them because they're strong. Their mind and body. Well, the mind and body is one. Going back to what I said earlier, that we were not trained how to use our brain. Using this training program, it literally is how to use the software of your brain. And once you understand how to use it and start using it properly, you can manifest these things just like my clients have.
Now, is there like one or two success stories, and you obviously have so many of them, but one or two that really just pop out to you where you're like, wow, that was the coolest moment when I found out that this person had done, such and such?
Oh my gosh, I do have so many, and I've shared many of them with you already.
I was going to say, as if 400, going from 4 million.
That's exciting. I've got tons more. But I'll just give you a quick one. That Tim Taylor is a client of mine, and he came to us. Again, he had been very successful in business before. He made $1 million, and retired by the age of 40. But he found that he really wasn't happy. He was retired, but unhappy and not doing what he wanted to do. He went back to business, back doing what he had made his money in. But again, he found he just wasn't enjoying it. And so he came to us. He took this training course. He did coaching with me. And long story short, I helped him find what his real passion was, which was actually coaching people. He wanted to be a coach himself and mentor people in what he had done, how he had become successful. And in less than a year, using this method, using these principles, he made an additional $525,000. But again, even more important than the money was doing what he loves to do. He called me from Mexico, and he says, "Noah, I love it here, but I can't wait to get back to the office." He was on vacation. He says, "I can't wait. I've never been on a vacation wanting to get back to the office in my life." He says, "I can't wait because I love what I do." And it was really exciting. So, yes, the money is great. And of course, we all want more money, and I understand that. But isn't it better to have happiness and wealth?
Yeah. See, I'm so psyched. I'm glad you said that. And this really does. It's like, wow, this really is the missing piece. But what I love that you're stressing is, you're sitting here and sharing stories about, these massive changes in income and all of that. But the reason I'm doing the Manifest Everything Now series is because that's what I'm passionate about. Is what matters is that you're whole and full and alive and passionate and excited within yourself. All of that other stuff, that's gravy. So that's brilliant. All that stuff that I know a lot of you feel like you're struggling with, that's eventually going to be the gravy. So what I like what you're saying here, Noah, is that this is, this allows for that. Even with the one woman who now she's working less than she was, there's quality of life increase with what you're talking about here. And that's what's exciting to me and why I was excited to be able to share you with everybody. And actually, I know we have talked about it, but I asked you to put together a special offer for everyone. To access this page for yourself, simply click on the special offer button that's on this page. Go ahead, Noah. You've got the floor. Let us know what we're going to find there.
So the program is called Affirmations, the missing piece to having abundance. And when you go to that page that Kristen just mentioned, you'll see some more testimonials and success stories. So basically, to walk you through the program very simply, I give you complete and in-depth details on the Affirmations method. This is the exact technique that I taught my $10,000 client. It's the step-by-step method. I'm a really step-by-step kind of a teacher. There's really no missing pieces here. That's why this is the missing piece. Literally, I show you how you can change your brain, change your thinking, and change your results in just 5 minutes a day. So that's videos and audio recording. I also give you my complete Affirmations guidebook. It's just a super simple 4 steps to wealth system, and this is the exact formula I've taught my high-level coaching clients and at my seminars. This is a printable PDF guidebook. So this is all online, by the way. You can literally get this right now in the next 5 minutes and be, consuming this right now as we're even talking. You'll also get my Attract More Money IAForm audio. So have you ever tried hypnosis CDs, Kristen? Have you ever, listened to those types of things? Well, Iaform audios do the same thing, but with one big difference. Instead of fighting your subconscious mind using statements that you don't believe, what happens is Iaform audios inject money-attracting thoughts, abundance-attracting beliefs directly into your subconscious mind, while at the same time destroying money-killing thoughts that are stopping you from having more abundance right now. I am literally listening to Iaform audios right now while I'm talking to you. That's how powerful they are. I'm actually changing my brain while I'm doing other things. So you can listen to these anytime, anywhere. Many of my clients listen to them while they sleep, while they're driving, while they're exercising, eating, doing emails, even watching television. You can be watching something, totally not even paying attention, and literally be changing your brain. I had one client write, his name was Chris. He wrote to me from Calgary. He said, using this system, just, these three pieces that I just talked to you about, he closed his first $1 million deal. He had never done a $1 million deal. He's in the financial industry. His first $1 million deal in less than 2 weeks because of this program. So it's incredibly powerful. Then we also have a video on removing your financial head trash. I show you what's causing your head trash around money. So many people have so many negative beliefs around money. Again, I grew up poor in a wealthy neighborhood, so I had tons of head trash. I can never make any money. It's only for other people, blah, blah, blah. Well, once you believe those, that's the seeds you're planting. So you've got to stop planting those and plant the better seeds. I'll show you how to do that. Then I also have a special report called Overcoming the Fear of Rejection, how to literally just get rid of that. So many people have a huge fear of rejection, stops them from making phone calls. If you're in network marketing, this is a great, just that report alone will be worth 100 times more than the cost of this package. Then I also give you a special report on the power of empowering questions, show you how to use empowering questions to overcome your most frustrating problem. It just immediately changes your relationship with money. And then I also have an audio Q&A recording on optimal health strategies, the 3 pitfalls that can destroy your health and how to avoid them, and another Q&A recording on demolishing procrastination. So it's not enough just to think positive. It's not enough to, use willpower. Those things don't work really. So once you understand how to do that, how to get rid of procrastination, it's really surprisingly simple. It's much easier than what you're doing right now. So you'll literally hear me on the phone. In this package, you'll hear me on the phone. You actually get access to live coaching calls that people have paid thousands of dollars for. You'll get access to that in this program. So this package, if we were to put it all together, this would literally be worth at least $750. I mean, at the minimum, I would charge $750. Sure. So what we're doing right now, because of this special offer, that full package, everything that you get, is just $97. So it's just one-time payment of $97. It really is. It's amazing.
That's amazing.
It's incredible.
That's amazing. Now let me ask you this, because you're saying, 5 minutes a day and all of that. How long is this something you do ongoing or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I mentioned, I'm listening to my Iaform audios, but that's the point. See, there are other programs out there that they make you sit and watch movies, videos, or you have to stare at your navel or something for an hour and a half. Listen, people are busy. I'm not saying those don't work. I'm not saying they're bad. They're just, people are busy. I created this for the busy professional, for the busy person who wants to get what they want faster. And I'm all about speed, and you've heard it said that money likes speed, or the universe likes speed. One of my good friends, Joe Vitale, says that a lot. And it's true. So I am all about increasing the speed by which busy professionals manifest their destiny, reach your destiny faster. So it really is about that. I'm sure that everybody listening is going to reach your destiny, but would you rather it take 40 years or less than a year?
Yeah,
I mean, it's up to you. It's your call.
Yeah, and that makes sense, and actually leads me to what I really want to know, and what I know everybody else wants to know. It's obvious what some of the long-term results are. If I said, Noah, tell me, obviously everybody's different, but within the first week, here are some things that you should absolutely start to see change or feel change, or however you want to put it.
Well, I can do much better than that a week, because watch videos by me, or I'll share that with you. For those of you who want to do more research on me, that's fine. But you go do your research, because all you'll hear is, I can't believe how fast that was. I literally have videos of people that I am standing there. They didn't know I was going to do this. This was totally spontaneous. I brought them out of the audience. I taught them this method, and then they're totally strong. I can't move them. So it doesn't change in a week. It doesn't change in a day. It changes in that moment. In that instant, you can see it. It's that instant because it's your brain. It's your thinking. It literally is the software. When you go to Google and type in, why is the sky blue? Does it sit there and say, I'll tell you in a week? Now, I'm not suggesting, do not think this is a get-rich-quick program, because it is not a get-rich-quick program. People who are looking for get-rich-quick, make sure you don't buy this, because this is not get-rich-quick. There's no such thing as get-rich-quick.
Exactly.
What it is using your brain properly. Think about where you are right now. Think about how much money you've spent. By the way, my client Jim, because to wrap up that story, some of you might be wondering what happened to Jim. He's my client who had spent $150,000 and then not made a dollar. He literally now is up and running, and he's making money for the first time online.
Wow.
So they taught him these principles. So he's making money. He had never made any money. Now, did he make $1 million overnight? Of course not. No, nobody does. When you hear stuff like that, that's just hype. I am the opposite of hype marketing. I just tell you the truth. And I mean, I know people are cynical right now, and they've heard it all before, and it's like, oh, is it another one? That was why I told you that story about, Sheila and David. Sheila was skeptical. David said, I don't care. We're getting it. And Sheila, of course, has him to thank for that, because, now they're both of them are, and their whole family is reaping the benefit. So I understand that people are skeptical. That's why I don't have to hype this. If anything, I do the opposite of hype. Some of the stories that I have, I can't even share because they're too incredible. And I go, my gosh, if I said that, people would never believe me. But they're true. And by the way, I will just share also, it does also, if you want to lose weight, I've had tons of weight loss stories. I just had an email from a woman in Pennsylvania. She lost over 100 pounds. She was suicidal, weighed over 300 pounds. She used this affirmations method, used the program. She got to under 200 pounds, which is a huge weight loss. And she actually finished her master's program. She's in school, and she's doing better than she ever has in her life. So she literally says this program saved her life. So again, I'm not suggesting that people are at that level or that amount of pain, but if you are, or if you know someone who is, recommend this program to them. It literally could and can, save their life, if not certainly change it very quickly.
Wow. And that is, again, I love that you mentioned that, because we're talking about manifest everything now. So whatever it is, you can use this to, as you said, accelerate. Do you want your success to take 40 years or happen within the year? So I like that. That's sort of like, really? Did you just, do I have to think about my answer? Because if I do, we've got something else to deal with. So yeah, everybody
just click on the special offer button on this page.
I highly encourage you to do this, because, Noah, he is the real deal. He's not hype. So, and you can tell that from talking with him. Is there one final thing you can share with us before we go that will help us move forward in our lives?
Yeah, I want to share 5 words that have changed my life, have changed the lives of over 200,000 people around the world in over 50 countries, and, have really made the difference between where I was, which was very unhappy, broke, alone, and now, I have a life that I really is better than I dreamed of, and that is give yourself permission to succeed. Give yourself permission to succeed. That is also the title of my first book, called Permission to Succeed. But the reason I share that with you, Kristen, as a final thought is, I know for some people are skeptical, and, you'd say you've heard it all before, and this can't be true. We do have a money-back guarantee. So, if there's any problems or anything, if you just say, oh, I don't get it, or I don't believe it, or whatever, listen, you're totally protected. We know that. We know that there are people out there, who need that kind of a guarantee, so we have it. But my point is that I want you to just give yourself that permission. Give yourself permission to succeed, to reach your destiny faster, and it will really make all the difference for you.
Noah, thank you so much for everything you've shared with us. It was very enlightening, because it was just this whole other way of looking at things. I found myself going, whoa. It's really cool to be exposed to something that's different, and where you go, yeah, that makes so much sense. Thank you for sharing that with us and for spending your time with us today, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Sounds great, Kristen. It was my pleasure, and I'll see you later. Thank you.